All right. All right, give me one sec. Okay, good.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so Tom, next I want to talk about something that's kind of amazing, right? So you literally worked with hundreds of coaching companies over the years, made a lot of guys who sold coaching very wealthy. But when there's hundreds of coaching businesses that you work with, I know there's also a lot more that you turned away, right? So how did you evaluate businesses or coaching businesses and decide, hey, this is a good fit? This person definitely has the secret sauce. They have the magic within them. How do you find that person, and how do you say this person has it and this person doesn't?
Yeah. So no doubt we were always looking for the Pied Piper, right? The next big thing. We even joked around that sometimes it was kind of like we were looking for the next boy band, so to speak, right? Because we were looking for talent, and there was this combination of, is the person that we're talking to, do they just attract people? And when they talk, do people listen? Do they, go, man, I love listening to that guy or that woman because they really speak to me, type of a thing. And the only way you could evaluate that before actually taking on their leads, and we had a sales call center, and we had coaching that we deliver and fulfilled that we would fulfill for each specific client. And so my job was to literally sit down and evaluate, hey, is this a good candidate, or do they need some work, or they're really not, right? And so many people came to us with that, like, hey, I've got my own coaching business. Here's how I generate leads. Here's how we deliver coaching. Here's the value that I have. And the first thing we did was just look at, hey, are these people, are they a good match for us, right? When we call on the phone, or when we reach out with some other messaging, how do they respond to this person? Do they respond with affinity, going, oh, hey, Jim, we're calling from Jim's office. Jim's office. Oh my gosh, I love Jim, right? We're looking for that kind of response versus, oh, Jim, right? And you get it, right? And so it's like, what's the rapport? What's the trust? What's the connection there? And is that there? And as well, do they have a problem where we solve? Are they motivated and have enough money, or willing and interested and excited to work enough with, Jim to spend the money on coaching, right? It was a commitment and an investment, and we would make sure and commit them. But we always would look for that first and go, hey, tell us about your leads. Where do they come from?
That's just what I was going to ask you. Give us a little context. Where did that lead come from? How did you?
Where does this lead come from? What's their affinity to you? How long have they? What's the time and money exchange, right? How long have they been you've been working with them? Is this somebody who opted in as a free lead and now you're passing them to us, hoping we do all the magic? Or is this someone who bought something, they learned something, they've invested to the next level, they're ready to invest to the next level because of some pre-marketing? What is it that you've done to attract them to you? And what is it that you've done to get them in a pre-sell mode, so that when the timing comes for the coaching call, that's the response. Oh, it's Jim. Hey, I love you. I bought 3 of your programs. I bought 3 of Jim's programs. I'm curious about this coaching, right? And that's a whole different sales experience than someone who's like, I don't know who this is. I don't even remember the website, right? That kind of a experience. So I had to flush that out, because everyone would go, my leads are the best. Everyone loves me, right? And that wasn't necessarily true, right? So people who had the capacity, that was the other thing, is in talking to them, I go, well, what's your background? What's your seasoning? We always want to know where they came from, right? And no surprise, some of the best high flyer superstars had more experiences, more repetition. They'd been involved in selling, coaching, training people, and they'd already made all the mistakes, right? So they didn't have to learn, we didn't have to have them, quote, in diapers, so to speak, right? So we would evaluate the business owner based on all their seasoning experience. And one of the biggest questions was, how do you think they're going to handle going from, 6 figures to 7, 8 figures? Because we'd helped a lot of people and blew up their sales, made a lot of sales for them, and they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it emotionally. And imposter syndrome would come in, right? And so it was like, hey, let's
Interesting.
help you through this process because this is what's going to happen. We know the path. We're going to walk you through it, and we're going
Was there a way to identify those people that, you know, hey, we know this person's probably gonna have a tough time handling the success, or do you not know till you get there?
the early on, we just tested people's leads and we just see how it went, right? Because we were hungry and we were like, let's take as many people that fit a good criteria. As we got more experience and bigger and had to be more, screen more, you know, we had one of our biggest TV stars, guy sold for years, sold, you know, thousands and thousands of books on TV and then would sell his coaching. He spent 2 years speaking as a seminar speaker, another 2 years with his own brand, doing webinars and training and selling to people. After we knew who he was and that he was a candidate, it took like 3 to 4 years before he, quote, made it with us. And we were able to go giant and big with him, right? And that, it's the same thing. It's right. You know, hey, you're an instant success story after 10 years of hard work and experience, right? So that's where the big just blow up amazing things, all the names you've heard of, right? Anthony Morrison, Dean Graziosi, some of the seminar companies we worked with, you know, Russ Whitney, whatever, they had years of experience. So it was easy for us to ramp up. We knew they knew how to produce leads that would fit coaching and receiving a coaching call and were interested in preset, right? All of those things. And so sale before the sale, the whole concept of it is how to attract and pre-sell your client, your perfect prospect, so they become your perfect client, right? So we learned this, one, by learning from the world-class people who gave us leads because they tell us what they did. And then second, we'd help people who didn't have all the pieces in place, put them in place. If they were the right person and had the right kind of intent and could deliver, man, it was awesome. So I got to spend all my time doing that. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So millions of dollars. We sold tens of thousands of coaching clients, and
fill us in on a secret. So to close this out real quick, what was one thing that you learned from the superstars that helped them pre-sell? Right. So, I mean, and by pre-sell, we're certainly meaning that, you know, by the time really, you know, because we call it super simple selling, you know, by the time you get to the sales situation, it should actually be really easy. Right. It shouldn't be uncomfortable at all. You're really just letting them talk themselves into, you know, what they've already been talked into.
Yeah, they talk themselves into it. And they also go through the emotion of, hey, am I really committed? Am I really serious about this? And they're thinking about that while you're on a sales call, right? That's really what the sales call is. I want this.
Yeah. But how did the superstars, how did they get them there? How did they get them there pre-sold? Like what was one thing that stands out of all the rest?
So here's the difference. Most coaches teach their stuff. They teach their content. And I've heard this a million times. My stuff's so much better than your big shot, blah, 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 right? What the biggest, most successful coaching business gurus, people who sell coaching do is they know how to move people from one step to the next while delivering their content so that people act on it, right? I would rather somebody have 3 pieces of information that they can act on and get a positive result that's going to egg them on than a library of the best, most precise information of all, because it overwhelms them. They don't actually do anything with it, right? So that's the number one thing with sale before the sale is if you know how to move people through the state of the affinity and the buying process, what'll happen is when you actually sell your content, you sell your coaching, they actually get stuff done. And that's what makes millions of dollars and gets you a lot of clients, right?
Yep, for sure. That's an awesome tip. So anyway, I think what I want to do is just wrap this one up for today. And then next time, I think something that coaches out there really need to learn is that bottom 25%, right? What do you do with the bottom 25% of your leads that just, it does, you know, they're not bad people, they're just bad prospects, right? So we can cover that next time. And just fill them in on how to handle those people who, you know, aren't ready to be you know, they're not coming to a sales situation. Those are the people where you got to, you know, twist their arm and, you know, that's not,
that's a whole nother video, right?
Yeah. Right. That's you don't want those people, you don't want to sell like that. You don't want those clients. So we're going to teach you next time how to avoid those those leads. And eventually how to keep them from generating those leads at all. So
Go
Anyway.
start getting the sale before the sale yourself.
yep, check it out.